So just once again, like, to cover the governor limits, so the last two things is, always try to use the bulkified coding concepts. Like, you create an instance of an S object, add it to a list, and then do either one DML. And don't write SOQLs inside loops, as you may hit the governor limit over here. And in case of large data sets, use pagination and use more selective so that it reduces the queries records that come back. Now you will be seeing that all this is for a transaction. Now what is a transaction? As I told you, is a logical set of DMLs. Okay, and you'll see within a transaction there are two types of synchronous limits and asynchronous. So what is a synchronous and an asynchronous programming? Synchronous and asynchronous programming is not just unique to Salesforce Apex, it is there in all languages. It is basically called threads, right? You remember threading. If in other languages, if the interviewer is from Java, he will ask you, like, is there threading? By default you will say you cannot create threads, control threads, no semaphore handling and all that. There is no, you cannot create threads in Apex like in Java. Okay, but here you can make a code run in an asynchronous mode by giving some annotations like @future, @queueable, etc. So what is a synchronous? Basically, if he drills deeper into the topic, the interview may ask you what is synchronous first of all. So if you have 3 lines of program, but you will say system.debug1, system.debug2, system.debug3. So in synchronous, what will happen is line 2 will wait for line number 1 to complete. It will wait in stack till line number 1 is complete. Once line number 1 is complete, then line number 2 will execute. Once line number 2 is finished, then only line number 3 will execute. But in asynchronous, suppose you mark line number 2 as a @future. So what will happen is this line is marked as future, so it will run asynchronous. So what will happen is line 1 will execute. Now as soon as line 1 will execute, and then line 2 will execute. Okay, line 2 will not wait for line 1 to, so first line 1 will execute and line 2 will, after that line 2 will execute, right? So line 2 will wait for line 1 to execute, but once line 2 is executing as asynchronous, line 3 will immediately start executing. It will not wait for line 2 to stop to come back. Okay, so in synchronous, how it was, line 1, then line 2, then line 3. Here line 1, then line 2, but then immediately line 3. Line 3 will not wait for line 2 to come back because it is running, you have marked it as future and it is running asynchronously. So this is the basic concept of synchronous and asynchronous that you should know. Okay, and always go back to the annotations and other things and other videos which talk about asynchronous programming. Okay, all right.